Hey guys, Mr. Adamson here. Welcome to another Science 24 lesson. Today we are going to talk about energy in the human body. To start things off with we're going to talk about homeostasis. And homeostasis is a state of equilibrium or balance. So as an example of this, your body always tries to hold a steady temperature of approximately 37 degrees Celsius. So it'll dilate your blood vessels when you're hot. You sweat when you are hot to try and cool you down. You shiver when you're cold to try to warm yourself up. So talking about those examples in relation to homeostasis, your body is always trying to maintain that normal, that regulated state. It doesn't want to go too hot. It doesn't want it too cold. It wants to stay within that normal functioning that your body is the most optimal and able to produce the most energy and be the most efficient. Now metabolism is the rate at which a human body uses energy. So someone with a high metabolism has high energy needs. So they may eat a lot but not gain weight. So for a lot of you guys in your teenage years and your younger years, when you're in that 10, 11, 12, you usually can eat whatever you want, especially teenage males. I mean, they seem to eat a lot. I think back to myself. My parents always told me that I would eat so much, but I never really gained weight. That's because I had a higher metabolism. Now, this is because their food is either used by their body during digestion, activity, excretion, or released as waste, thermal energy. Now, as you get older, though, your metabolism usually slows down. So even myself now, I'm not in my teenage years anymore. If I ate the same way I did when I was a teenage boy, I'd be like 300 pounds because my body doesn't burn that excess energy near as fast. Now, some people are able to maintain high metabolisms for a long period of their life, whereas others it slows down, and even some as teenagers they don't have that high metabolism, and you have to watch what you eat. So for those of you who are consuming all these energy drinks and junk food, just be careful when you start to hit past kind of 18, especially girls when you're younger, even at 15, the weight starts to pile on a little more because your metabolism starts to slow down, and if you're not physically active, it's not being burnt off. Now, sources of energy for the body, and there are three main sources. The first one is carbs, and we talked about carbs in earlier slides with cellular respiration, and a form of a carbohydrate is a glucose, a simple sugar that the body is consuming for energy. Now, food is the fuel that keeps humans warm, active, and alive. And the main source of energy is a simple carbohydrate called glucose. So glucose is broken down to provide energy that powers the body's metabolism. And if more glucose is broken down than needed, the extra is converted into glycogen, which is stored in the muscles and liver and used when needed. And so when it's needed, it's reverted back into glucose and used. And again, it's used in that organelle within the cell called the mitochondria to produce adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, that our body uses for energy. Now, a definition here, carb loading. Carb loading is the intake of extra carbohydrates for needed energy expenditures. So if you hear about athletes, especially when they're before a big game, so if they play at 7 o'clock at night at like lunchtime, they're gonna do a carb loading. They're gonna eat a big meal of pasta, and there's a lot of energy, a lot of glucose within that. So when it comes time to expend all that energy, they have all this extra energy built up in the form of food that they've taken in their body. The next source of energy is fats. Now, we need fats for insulation, energy conservation, and as a source of energy. Now, once carbohydrate stores run low, the body turns to fat stores for energy. Now, fat has almost twice as much energy as carbohydrates do. And fats are classified in two groups. You can have saturated fats, and these come from animal fats and some oils and are associated with heart disease. So they're not really very good to consume. You don't want to be consuming large amounts of saturated fats. You want to keep it to a very minimal amount. Unsaturated fats, these come from most oils and are associated with reducing heart disease. So you want to be consuming more unsaturated fats. And again, you need fats within your body. They are good for your nervous system and brain development. But you got to watch about your intake, because if you consume too much fat, well, again, it's just going to be stored as fat in your body, and it's hard to break down because your body uses carbohydrates first, then goes to fats. So that's why it's important to eat healthy and eat nutritiously, so you have the right amount of carbohydrates for your body to use, and then can also use some of the fat stores if you're looking to lose weight and become more fit and healthy. Now, just a little key note here. We can see just right down here, North Americans eat their weight in sugar every year. Now, as excess sugar is stored in the liver, and if the intake continues at a high rate, it's converted into fat. So this again is really important if you are consuming large amounts of sugar, especially in pop and chocolate bars and a lot of snack foods. Right now, maybe when you're younger, you're not burning as much of them, or you're burning a lot of it off because you have higher metabolisms. But as you get older, metabolism slows down and your fat stores go up. So it's almost like a little graph here. As you get older, so age being down here, so your metabolism starts up high and starts going down, and your fat storage, well, it's going to start low, but as your metabolism goes down, your fat storage goes up. And so it's kind of an inversely related to one another. Next source of energy is protein, and proteins have the same amount of energy as carbohydrates, but it's harder for the body to break down proteins. It doesn't really like to. Now, although protein is not great for energy, it does build and maintain healthy body tissue, and it aids in our growth of our muscle cells and our bone tissue. Now, when used as an energy source, though, proteins are unable to perform their growth and repair functions effectively. So if you look at this child on the side here, he's very malnutritioned, doesn't have the necessary intakes of carbohydrates and fats, and his body now is starting to break down the proteins that he needs. But as I said right here, in this point, when it's used as an energy source, it can't do these two things right here. It can't build and maintain healthy body tissue, which you can see by this child here and the state that it's in, and it does not aid in growth. And that's where you see in a lot of third world countries, children who are very malnutritioned, well, they may look very small and scrawny, but they are a lot older than they may look. And again, that goes to proteins being used as an energy source and not being involved with building and maintaining healthy body tissue and aiding in growth. And so the biggest thing from this is that you want to really follow the recommended food guide servings per day. And it's really important, especially as you get older, your metabolism slows down, to maintain this healthy lifestyle and maintain the proper intake of foods. And if you look for yourselves in the teen category right now, right here, from 14 to 18, you want to have 7 to 8 servings of vegetables. You want to have 6 to 7 grain products, 3 to 4 milk and alternatives, and 2 to 3 meat and alternative servings. And again, the more you can load on the fruits and vegetables, the better. And then, bring these other 3 into play here. But again, if you just look here, having the amount and type of food recommended following the tips of Canada's Food Guide will help meet your needs for vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients, reduce your risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and certain types of cancer, and osteoporosis, so osteoporosis where your bones are starting to break down, and contribute to your overall health and vitality. So that's it for now. Hope you learned something about the human energy needs and how we get energy through food, and a little bit about maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Thanks for listening.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.